Hello, and welcome to Coffee Break, Episode 3. We are your hosts, Annie,
Corey,
and Hannah.
And some future school announcements. They're trying to start a soccer team, so if you're interested in that, see Yanira. We're also trying to start a track team. If you're interested in that, see Drew. And also, our yearbook polls are out on Google Classroom. Go check those out and vote.
Also, Lexi's petition to get more swings for the school. Yeah.
Interested? See her on that.
And if you want to contact us, it'll be at FS Coffee Break on our Instagram. If you feel like
being a little more serious than our last couple, the events that happened in Florida over this last little bit, thoughts go out to all those families and those who were involved with that. So we're going to sort of discuss our feelings on the
gun control climate.
And the event itself.
Yeah. Where do you guys want to start off at? Gun control in general?
Yeah.
Okay. So, my personal thoughts on gun control, that guns should be controlled. That we shouldn't just have everyone roaming around with them, you know? We discussed this a little bit earlier, before we started recording, and we mentioned, Annie mentioned that, it was very easy to get a gun in there out of a speech that was told by this girl that was, in the actual shooting. And apparently it's really easy to get a gun in Florida in general, and in most places that aren't, like, really up to date with all of the severity of everything, you know?
Yeah.
I would say, like, in different places, if you look at it, it's, like, more deep south places, they, like, are very much loose with their gun control to a point, you know? Because obviously it's registered and stuff like that, but, the girl said that you could just, like, buy one.
Her name was Emma Gonzalez, and she was the senior at the high school.
Okay, so Emma Gonzalez mentioned in her speech that that you could just buy one, like, either off the street in pawn shop at a registered gun place, and you wouldn't really need a license or anything like that, correct?
Right.
And I just think that, like, Florida, to my knowledge, has there been a mass shooting in Florida like this?
The Orlando.
Not like a school shooting, but there's been the nightclub shooting.
Well, yeah, that, but school shootings. Like, I don't quite remember one that was, like, very public like this, you know?
I don't think there was one that was very, like, put out there.
Yeah. So, like, the only shooting I think of is the nightclub one. And, also, like, Christina Grimmie was killed there, I believe, yeah.
I thought that was it was in California, but I'm not sure.
Was it? I remember that happening around the same time. Anyway, back on the subject. Like, I feel like they didn't really know, like, until now, how to, like, keep their guns kind of under control. Because
Orlando.
You don't know. Yeah.
She was killed in Orlando.
I don't think that they really know. They didn't really know, like, how to handle guns before, like, something bad like this happened. Because you don't know until it actually happens to you.
Right.
And, I feel like they could improve on that, like, a lot right now, especially with this whole controversy happening.
My opinion on gun control, I think guns should be limited in a way that you can't just buy them off the streets because, like, at a pawn shop or something like that. Because those guns can go without being registered and stuff like that. And even there was something on the news, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but where the guy had purchased, like, a kit online to build a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can do that with, like, nuclear weapons. So you can just make one out of a fire thing. Like,
and you don't have to register it, though. Like, the gun. Yeah. And he did it, like, on, you know, like, a video of it, of him building the gun himself. And then there was another, like, law enforcement guy, I believe that was there, and who, like, oversaw him, like, building it and then firing it, and it, like, worked, like, perfectly fine. And he just bought this kit online. Like, I think that's a little kind of out there, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should be completely limited or, like, taken away. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think that if Well, there's certain guns that nobody needs. There's not a reason to have something that can shoot so many bullets in a small amount of time.
I agree with that.
I feel like a handgun is all that you really need to protect your house, as some people make the argument, like, I need to protect my family. You don't need a machine gun for that. You don't need one that shoots, a lot of bullets a minute. I don't know, any, gun really related things. But I know that you don't need, 20 bullets per minute or whatever just to stop, a house, burglar, use your fist, use a coffee table, something.
I agree with that completely. I think there are certain weapons, like guns and stuff, that should just not be for regular household have.
Yeah.
Handgun, like you said, I think that's, an acceptable way, because obviously if someone has, I'm not saying shootings are cool or nothing like that, but if someone has a handgun over, what do you have, an AR-15?
Yeah. A
lot less people would have been dead. One.
They probably could have stopped them a lot easier.
Right.
Because, AR-15s, they have so many bullets. That's the thing.
And it can go off, so many rounds in, minutes. It's crazy.
But with, a pistol or, a handheld gun, you would probably have been able to stop him while he was either reloading or whatever. Because that would have killed, probably less people.
And even the con to that, though, is smaller guns, though, you can
conceal.
Yeah, and you can, when you go somewhere, you can hide a smaller gun on you way better than you can hide an AR-15.
True.
Which is also kind of you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to it, but I think overall, having those crazy, automatic, semi-automatic, machine guns is kind of
out there.
Right.
We don't need that. And, the arguments people make for it is just, really, really dumb. That, they need it to, like I said, to protect their family, or, I need to protect my property. And it's, at the same time, it's law enforcement, I feel should be able to carry guns, obviously. And, we've been through that part. Obviously, there's, killing people for, really no reason at all.
Right.
And, that was the time.
But if guns are restricted as well, how we're talking about, limiting, automatic, semi-automatic weapons, I feel like law enforcement and, police officers would be less, open to just, firing at people, because there's a good possibility they won't have one. If guns are limited to the point where, you have to be, you have to register everything you have, and you have to, it can only be,
certain people.
Right. So then you can just be okay, well, he may or may not. You pretty well know if someone is going to or not going to have one.
Yeah. And also, at the same time, we were talking to people in class that, things with mental illness, sometimes they don't present themselves until a certain time. Or,
right.
So you could register. I feel like they used to have that thing where you had to register every year and get the exam every year so you could keep it going, or was that, an idea?
I'm not really in on that stuff, but I think that would be a good idea, because, things switch up too really fast. I think if, you, have some sort of evaluation and you show, any really sign of it, any, little off, because something, so little could turn to something so big so fast.
Yeah. So it's, bipolar disorder isn't usually, presented very well, you know? And they often think it's, other, things, different symptoms show other things, So,
and something like that can even escalate so quickly.
Yeah.
Within a couple, months, days, weeks, whatever.
Mm-hmm. But at the same point, it's, really hard to diagnose mental illness. It's,
right.
Sometimes the signs are there. They present themselves immediately. But other times you're kind of just hidden away, or someone's, hiding them, Because you can lie,
Yeah.
So it's difficult to, really put a direct point on, where you should stand on how to get a gun, really.
Right.
Because you say mental illness, you can't get it. But at the same time, it's perfectly normal people would just be I don't like you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, how do we fix the problem?
Well, I think one way that we kind of already addressed was limiting the guns available. Obviously, you don't need an AR-15 from, to protect your family.
Well, you could.
You shouldn't need an AR-15. A simple handgun, I think. would be, something that's okay for people to keep. Another thing I think could be, we know, like, people are, like, buying, handguns and stuff like that off the streets or, like, in pawn shops, and I think there should be some sort of improvement to that system, because right now I feel like it's way too easy for just anyone to get a gun.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That makes sense.
I understand that point of view. Like, I think the fact that it's legal in Florida to even be like, hey, can I get a gun? And they're just like, okay. And just, like, hands it off to you. And, like, that's just nuts to me. Because in so many other places, it's like, don't you know, like, what happens when this is, like, a thing?
Right.
Because there's been so many other, like, school shootings and, like, mass murders, like,
She also brought up, in that interview we talked about earlier, she brought up mass shootings in other countries and stuff, and how, where was it? There was one country, I don't remember which one it was, but it had one mass shooting, they implemented gun control, and then they haven't had another one since. Mm-hmm. So,
Australia.
Yeah.
Australia.
I think the last mass shooting in Australia was in 86.
Yeah, because that's where the largest one in history, right?
In Australian history.
Australia. Now the largest one was in Vegas, right? No.
Maybe.
What was the largest
I'm not
one?
Sure.
No.
Let me check.
But I know they were just like no guns, basically.
Right.
After this. And a comedian that I watched, who was like kind of political, he brought this up in like one of his specials and was like, basically Australia had a mass shooting, killed a lot of people, and Australia was like, okay, no guns. Mm-hmm. And then America has a mass shooting of like all these little children at Sandy Hook, died. Okay. Yeah. And America's just kind of like, maybe no guns? Like, we'll get rid of the big guns. Like,
Yeah.
And I remember like hearing controversies of being like, maybe we should give the teachers guns, Maybe the teachers are going to have guns, yeah. Like, you're just going to add guns with guns.
Like, if you were to give a teacher a gun, they would have to go through, like, the same training.
Right. But then also,
I think they would have to go through more, because they're, like, having to protect people. Like, they should have to go through, like, police training.
But also, when we're talking about that, we were talking about how the people would have to be, evaluated yearly or, whatever to keep a, firearm. But if teachers are keeping firearms in their classroom, that makes it, or like, with them, it makes it accessible to all those children around them who aren't having to be evaluated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that brings up... Oh, sorry. Go on.
The thing is that if a teacher had a gun, they couldn't have it out. It would have to be locked away, or they would need to have it on them at all times.
Right.
Okay, my gun's safe. I'm a responsible gun.
But slip-ups happen, and then it does become, available to those. Or, there was a video, again, on the news about, families who had guns in their houses that weren't locked up, but they were, like, hidden. And, like, they're, like...
Small children
knew where they were.
Yeah.
And then the parents hid them, for this video, like, in a new spot for, like, a couple weeks. And then a couple weeks later, the same people came back and asked the kid if he knew, or he or she knew where the firearm was, and it was like, yeah, they moved it. It's right here. Like, so...
It's like... there's so many, like, news stories about kids shooting themselves with their parents' guns. It's like...
Right.
What do you... Even, like, people that have guns, they're locked up, there's still the fact of if you have a teen around and they get, like, really depressed, there are suicidal tendencies. Like,
right.
What are they going to do with that gun? What do you think? And I'm not against keeping a gun in your house. Of course, like, you're allowed. But at the same time, you're going to keep it locked in a safe, and then a burglar's going to come in, and, like, the burglar's not going to wait for you to get your gun out. So it's like, there's no right way to do this, It's like, you keep it in a safe. If someone comes in your house, you're not going to be like, boop, 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 boop.
Like, hold up.
I gotta do this.
I'll be right back.
They should have it to where, like, you use your, like, a print.
Yeah.
That way it'll be faster.
Yeah. I mean, like, iPhones, can you, like, I don't think you can do that with anyone else, you know?
Well, I think you...
It have to be high-tech safe. That'd be kind of cool, though. I mean...
You ever seen
the problem with that is that...
I don't know why, but... Go ahead.
If you put your thumbprint anywhere, they could take it off of it and use that.
Nicolas Cage.
But it's a lot easier to guess a code than it is to get your fingerprint.
Oh, yeah. You have, like, code unlockers, right?
Yeah. And it just takes one person seeing it for one time to remember the code. Mm-hmm. Which includes children. But if you use your thumbprint, I doubt a child's going to, like, cut off your finger to get a gun.
Maybe a robber.
Let me get this, man.
Can't get something in your safe. I don't know. But that's a good idea, honestly. But,
Okay, then that reminded me of, I don't know why, but we're talking about, like, you know, technology advancing and stuff like that with, like, insects. The thing that came into my head was Spy Kids movie. You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, there's when they had to go to that, like, secret, like, little island home kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And, like, you know, she put the thing in the microwave and it made food. Like, that was so high-tech. Like, that was cool.
I'm just thinking of the thumbs.
But that's what came to my head. We were talking about, like, technology and everything. I was like, oh, Spy Kids. Like, that's what's up.
Oh, my God. Anytime anyone mentions Spy Kids, I just think of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Just immediately. Because, like, just correlation in my childhood. Corey, don't look at me like that.
Sun thumbs.
But, like, definitely, like... But definitely
I know, those were, like, the biggest... That movie, whenever...
This thing terrified me.
Whenever he, like, looked at her, he was like... Mm-hmm. That was, like... To me, I was like, oh my gosh, like, how did he just see? But I was like...
He's a fingernail. Oh, God.
And then she hid in the thumbs. Oh, I forgot to say spoiler alert.
Why?
I don't know if anybody's going to watch Spy Kids.
A delayed spoiler alert.
Very delayed.
When she hid inside of it, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
When they took him out.
And then her brother started, like, attacking it.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about is, like, you know, like, their technology. Because he had those little cameras, and he was like, doop, like, put them wherever, like, those tiny ones you can see.
We have a dark camera like that here.
The only thing I can remember is Emily Osment with her helicopter hair.
Stop. She was going too, man. Any of those things, the other guy, not the bad guy, but the ones that they were competing with, he had the sticky thing. He was like, up the wall.
Okay, let's go.
Anyways.
Wait, before that. I think it was Spy Kids 3. I'm not sure. When they were at... Whenever he went into the game, like the virtual reality.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, that is true. I mean, life imitates art. Spy Kids is art.
You can talk about our virtual reality at our school.
I mean, we could, but right now we're on gun control.
Well,
there was a gun in the game. In the demo house.
I was trying to
butterfly
about that. No. I just put it on my finger, and I, like, kept track of it, and it kept, like, coming right here.
America shot 3 in a row.
Why? What do they do when you shoot them?
To put it out there, we just got a virtual reality set for our school. So
yeah, and today was the first day that everyone got to, like, experience it.
Except for me.
And Corey didn't, because Corey...
But he got to watch other people experiencing it.
Cool. Yeah. Anyways, like, there's a butterfly in the game, and there's a lot of people shooting butterflies, and I, like... What happens if you shoot it? Like,
it says zap or something like that.
Yeah, it says zap.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go back.
It's like,
you didn't even get points for it. Like,
yeah.
The target you got points for it. Like it said. 200, whatever.
Oh, were you in there whenever I put in the VHS tapes?
No.
I put them in. I,
so cool.
Figured that out.
I was like, where are you going to put these at?
Yeah. Me and Tate... We both, like, figured that out, and we put, like, in the VHS tapes in, like, a different TV. And, like, it was, like, crazy.
I was wondering how that worked. I was like, where can you put this?
Yeah.
No, you can throw it at him, so I threw it at him.
I didn't throw it at him. I was, like, I loved him. I named him, what was it? Bebo. I named the little robot Bebo.
It had a name. It was Wally Jr.
No, it was Bebo.
I named Wally Jr.
I named him.
I kept shooting him. Just, like... Because it didn't hurt him, so I was like, you know what? Stop.
He got scared. Anytime I tried to touch him, he'd get out of range.
I didn't touch him.
I did.
Maybe you were just, like, scary to him.
No.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Anyways, that was super cool. Like, it was, like, super... I don't know.
disorienting once you got out, honestly.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
That's why
I want to go back and do it.
I want to go back in the virtual reality.
I want to live there. No. Oh, okay.
Sure, this isn't a virtual reality right now.
Shut up. That's not this episode.
That'll be
Anyway.
the next. Well, technically, if it is virtual reality, it is this episode.
No. So, just, since I guess we're on to a different topic, thing, gun control, like, definitely condolences for all the people who have been killed in mass shootings, and
their families.
Yeah, and it's no joke. If anyone's feeling, like, unstable and, like, are scared of someone, report it immediately if you're kind of, like, iffy, because obviously people make jokes about it,
Right.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age, we talk about, like, very sensitive topics. We joke about it because people are uncomfortable about it sometimes. And, just, remember, if you ever feel like you're being threatened, let someone know. Don't keep it to yourself. If you hear, like, jokes like that, try to make it noticed rather than just pushing it off. Because, the kid who shot up Florida, was kicked out of the school the year before.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much all I know, really.
I heard something about him, like, saying something to the FBI.
The FBI had been tipped off about it before, and they like, kind of just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it happened, and then they apologized because they had been tipped off about it and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. And I remember, like, they said he had talked to someone about it, too, and, like, posted it on social media. And was like, I'm gonna do this, or whatever.
And they say, like, killing small, like, animals, like,
yeah.
And showing that off, like, that he was, like, killing little things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, if you're, like, concerned about it, either talk to a higher up or, another person to get just, like, this noticed. And just pay attention to the person and make sure, like, anything, like, if anything does happen, make sure that you know your routes, that you know that you will be safe in a certain place, And definitely talk to your school about having drills, because I know for a fact that we don't have drills like that often,
Right.
And we barely had them at, like, Fort Smith public schools,
And Buren as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's a scary thought of it actually happening, so no one really prepares for it, and you don't really know until it's too late. So I would definitely consider talking to our higher ups about that.
Educate yourself
Yeah.
on the issue as well. Educate your peers,
Mm-hmm.
your friends.
Well, that's all I have to talk about, you guys.
Okay.
I want to thank you guys for, listening to this. And, reach out to us on our Instagram at FS Coffee Break. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Also, check out our YouTube channel,
Which is called
Coffee Break.
Coffee Break. Okay.
And also the podcast app under Coffee Break.
Yeah.
Check us out.
Mm.
So, bye everyone.
Bye.
We out.